Yeah, I'd have stayed in the podcasting world if I were him instead of coaching the Hornets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the one I liked especially, so that was funny. And I mean, obviously, he wouldn't be coaching without LeBron's approval. The one I thought was interesting was he was talking about the NBA draft, and I think a lot of people, especially Raptors fans, have talked about how the luck was on their side, on Cleveland's side in 2003. So instead of going Toronto, LeBronto, he goes to Cleveland. He goes, during that ball drop, the lottery drop, Cleveland got the number one pick, LeBron James said. I don't think that, what a coincidence. Let's keep LeBron home. Patrick Ewing to the Knicks, Derrick Rose to the Bulls. I understand the assignment.
I mean,
So he basically said what we
you've
all
heard my
thought.
theory on that before, right?
What's that?
Exactly what he said. Like, it's 100% rigged.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're going to send Wemby where Tony Parker was, where he's going to have, get a start with Pop and have a great system around him. Obviously, Derrick Rose, Chicago. And then the eye-opener for me was the summer that AD got traded, the Pelicans get Zion, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we're going to give you the number one pick. Just make sure AD gets to LA. So,
does that mean the Mavs will get Cooper Flag?
I don't know, bro.
We love our white players.
Maybe. There's a chance.
I was right about the Mavs missing the playoffs, by the way. I called that. And I think they were the 7 or 8 seed at the time. So I'm.
Yeah.
They did win today.
Was that post Luka trade?
That was immediately post Luka.
Okay.
They did win tonight, so they're tied with the Suns, but the Suns have the tiebreaker. So we'll see if they sneak in. I still hate the management. I do want to see them in the playoffs because I do want to see it, give it a run. I want to see what the team would look like. But yeah, no, thank you. And then of course, talking about LeBron is so happy to play with Luka, and Luka's so happy to play with LeBron.
Yeah,
and I think he said it best. He said, for each of us to reach our potential, we all got to figure it out. And so I think letting Luka take the last shot last night was a big thing for LeBron, who's having a horrible night, and then LeBron gets the tip in. It works perfectly.
Yeah.
So
it's full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to see who do you think would win in a boxing match? I mean, obviously, probably LeBron.
Give me the guy who's 6'8", 280 or whatever it is.
LeBron be Stephen A. Maybe he'd be better in like a UFC style match. Potentially get a tap out or something. Or a tap in, you know what I'm saying?
If you will. Unbelievable. Well, LeBron, still the king, James.
Yeah.
We'll see what the Lakers, the more I think about it, man, they do not have a big man.
Yeah.
They get killed. They're getting killed in the paint. So depends on who they face in the playoffs. They somehow have the Nuggets number, but I still think Jokic would win over 7 games.
Oh my gosh, that's the one team I don't want to see them play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have him in the regular season, but over 7 games, Jokic I think would take him. Other than that, does anyone have a big man? I guess the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean,
and I guess the T-Wolves, but not really. Gobert's not an offensive guy.
Gobert's not an offensive guy, so yeah,
the Mavs will probably take him. Ironically,
gosh, that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? There's too many teams in the West who don't want to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this would be the best season to just take the top 8 because Phoenix is gonna. I don't know what Phoenix is gonna do, but
they're gonna suck.
Yeah, the last 10 games I feel like are always trash of the season, but it's funny because it's gonna shift the standings so much.
And the draft lottery because of that. You lose an extra game, win an extra game here and there.
Right.
But they're never going to shrink the playoffs. They're only going to expand them. And I think that's a good segue to switch to NBA European expansion rumors. So they talked today about FIBA, the Federation of International Basketball, etc. Yeah. They talked today with the NBA, and they're like, let's start looking at it. And so the article I was reading the other day was, the NBA is considering a launch of a European league. The NBA would own half of the league with franchise owners owning the other 50%. So it'd be like a 50-50 setup, and it'd be so what they're considering is a new league, 8 to 10 teams, according to a source, semi-open, meaning there'd be 4 spots for the best team in the Europe League, teams like Real Madrid or Olympiacos in Greece, and then 4 to 6 expansion teams in places like London and Paris that would sell for $500 million each.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay, I was just about to say this is my opportunity to get a team, but I got to take a loan out for that. Let's
get your construction company first.
Yeah, let's get that going. Oh man, 500 mil.
Woo.
That's cool though. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was wondering how that was going to work with the Euro League. So it sounds like it would, somewhat be in combination. But does that kind of kill the Euro League?
That would be the question that
Or does
I would
it
have.
always become a stepping stone to try to get into the NBA, which I think is great for the league in general.
So I went down a couple rabbit holes.
We're going back to Europe after we came over here. So
it's all our ancestry coming back to each other. So I actually went down quite the rabbit hole about the Afroball, the African Basketball League, and I also went down the WNBA rabbit hole for a little bit too.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was crazy. But the NBA. So part of the reason they believe the Middle East and Europe would be worth as much as $3 billion in annual revenue. So they're looking to expand globally. What they do in in the African League is they basically get the league champs from each country and then put them in group play, and then that group play it turns into a tournament. So I'd be curious if you have maybe 4 permanent teams, and then the final 4 from the Euro League get to be in the NBA Europe or something along those lines. Some kind of combo, because I don't know if they want to kill Euroball, because Euroball's great for the league.
Awesome. Yeah,
you have great players come from it. Because that's where that's where Wemby developed. That's where Luka developed.
Jokic.
Dirk a long time ago. Jokic, yeah.
KP,
so you can't kill it.
Porzingis.
Oh yeah, and Giannis as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you definitely can't kill it. And I feel like just culturally it's, I don't know. It's kind of cool having it. So, yeah, I mean, you got to look at it from this perspective too. Just the population of people that are, 90% of the world is in the EMEA, the Europe, what I'm saying?
Europe, Asia, Africa.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I was going to call it the 1040 window, something like that.
That's unreached people groups. If you're a Baptist.
It's a little. There's an overlap there. So, but no, it's a huge market, and obviously tons of talent over there. You got that guy who's on Duke right now. I think he's from Sudan. Remember we talked about him a little bit during the Olympics.
Cooper Flag?
No, it's his running mate. I can't remember his name right now. But we've got a short that where we talked about him. So, yeah, tons of talent on the other side of the world, and funneling them towards the big league over here would be great.
Kaman Malukac.
There you go. Yeah,
boy, I butchered that name.
I think he's like 7'2".
Yep,
something like that. And there was Luau Ding, who was the coach of their team. South Sudan, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He was like, he's 10 years ahead of where Joel Embiid was in college.
Dang.
That's crazy. So maybe he gets drafted and gets hurt. Joel Embiid.
Took the old Joel Embiid one, huh?
Yeah. But, yeah, man, that's interesting. I'll read up on it a little bit. I saw the announcement, but I haven't dug into it as deeply.
It's crazy. It's a crazy world
we
live in. Sweet 16?
Yeah, who's in it? Who? To your point, it's like there's no crazy stories happening, right?
No, so this is the death of the Sweet 16. You got Alabama playing BYU right now, cooking them. Yeah. Florida up by 14 with 4 minutes to go on Maryland. And the lowest seed is the 6th seed, BYU, which is in the Big 12, one of the best basketball conferences. There's really 3. It's the Big 12, the SEC is the best one this year, and the Big Ten was pretty good every year. Those are kind of the three. I know you could argue ACC still on, but I'm just saying those are the best ones
Big
this year.
East is in there.
Yeah, but they all lost. You only have 4 conferences represented this year, which normally I think this is the first time they've had less than 7 in a while, if I remember correctly. You only have 1 seed lower than a 6, and that is a 10 seed in Arkansas. Now, you might think, oh yeah, Arkansas basketball is kind of trash, but the problem is you have John Calipari as the coach.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they have like a couple players who are probably going to go pro. Like they have plenty of talent. So they're not really that, and they played in the best conference in the league or in the this year and won 22 games. So it's not like they were a trash team that barely squeaked in. Like they went 14-4 in the conference and 22-3, 13 overall. And so the Cinderellas are dead, and I don't think it's coming back.
I don't think so either. And here's my view on it. It's kind of close to the college football stuff. Essentially, this has become another minor league, and the coaches, like Rick Pitino talked about this a little bit. They were asking him about his recruiting, high school recruiting this year, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not recruiting any high school players." He's like, "We're not gonna have to do that. We're gonna hit the transfer portal. We've already seen a few of these guys who've developed, and we're gonna grab them, and then we're gonna keep a handful of guys." And that's the same thing Coach Prime did, where he's like, "If I go get like a high school freshman, I'm gonna get maybe 5 to 10, and I'm expecting 5 of them to play. You're gonna come in and you're gonna play. So it's very to your point about the Euro leagues. Pitino talked about that as well. He was like, NCAA basketball is kind of like the Euro League now. You're going to get guys on 1 to 2 year contracts, and you're going to just have to rebuild every year. And I think you'll have the same teams at the top every year in that case.
Because I forget, is it the Michigan player who's already announced his transfer, and they're still playing?
Yeah.
So this is actually from DraftKings, and this is where every starting 5 started their career.
Oh, wow.
So look, I don't know if you can see that, but so let's look at Auburn. Only 1 player did they recruit. Everyone else a transfer. Michigan, none. They had 2 from Texas Tech and 1 from Auburn, 1 from North Texas and 1 from Yale. Ole Miss, none. Michigan State, they actually had 4 of their 5 recruited.
Go Sparty.
But 1 from Utah State. Yeah, and then Florida, only 1 Gator to start. Got a Washington State Cougar, you got a Belmont Bruin, you got an FAU Owl, and you got a Iona Gale, I guess. And then, the Terrapins here got 2. Yeah. Texas Tech only had 1, but 2 of theirs transferred to Michigan. So it's like, you kind of look at this. It's interesting. Wow. Like Belmont had 2 players of this caliber, and they transferred out. FAU had 2 players of this caliber. They transferred out. Virginia Tech here, 1 on Maryland, 1 on Ole Miss, had 2 players of this caliber, and they transferred out. So that's part, like what you were saying, that's the big reason why these teams can't win anymore is as soon as 1 player is good, they transfer out. And it's like, what are you supposed to do if you're the coach of Belmont or the coach of, I guess, Rutgers here too? Rutgers has 1 player on BYU and 1 player on Alabama. Like, what are you supposed to do if you're their coach? Because that's the way they would, they used to win, was you get guys who are together for 2 or 3 years. You got a squad of older players who are established instead of, the freshman 5 like Kentucky would always run. And so then every year they enter the transfer portal, they get offers from the big schools with NIL money. And like you were saying, the big schools, the best schools, the schools with the most money are just going to keep on raking in the talent and keep advancing.
The only way that you can have a Cinderella, I think, is now if somehow you get a couple 5 stars who are like, we're just going to go to Davidson, or they decide to go somewhere. It would even have to be probably like more like 4-star recruits, a couple 2 or 3 guys who aren't at the top of the ladder. But it's going to be rare now, and it is what it is. Like, it must be weird for the high school recruiting too, because they're not getting recruited as hard. So it's like, where do I go my freshman year to get a good look so I can hopefully transfer somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
It's a feeder system now. You know, you got a guy who's a sophomore who, you know, there was the lady on Florida State, the girl who led the nation in scoring. Florida State, you know, major schools going to transfer, enters the transfer portal, seeing what offers you can get. I mean, so that's what it is. You're just going to enter the portal, see what offers you can get. If no one comes up with anything, I guess I'll stay, or you know, I'll go. And yeah, it's just so interesting how the world's going to change. The only thing too, I think the other way that a team could possibly be a Cinderella is kind of what Dion did when he first got started at Jackson State. You know, you have a very charismatic coach, and he gets Travis Hunter and Shador over there, and they go undefeated, more or less.
Yeah.
That, I think, would be the only way which a Cinderella could still exist in the college basketball sphere that we have now. Otherwise, you know, your Cinderellas are going to be like Arkansas, which are a major program and a major conference with a huge budget and one of the best college coaches ever.
Yeah. Great recruiter.
Ugh. Kind of hate that guy. Very sleazy.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about him last week. I was like, I don't think that I'd be friends with him, but I would hire him as my coach, because you kind of need that sleazy guy in that. It works in that league.
Yeah.
It didn't work in the NBA. Like, he was coach of the Nets for a couple of years and it wasn't great, but for some reason it works in college. It's like the Saban thing. It's like, not in the NFL, you can't yell at the players, and you know, now that he can't yell at the players anymore, he retired. So
he was done. So
yeah.
You scream at you or I'm done.
Yeah.
That was more like FDR than Saban. I don't know what impersonation that was.
Yeah. They both wore the hat. It got confusing.
It'll be a day that lives in infamy.
Yeah.
I still got Florida winning it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're looking good tonight.
That was actually the one game I watched, and I loved the number 1 Chapman. Maybe might have been his name. He was because I feel like in college now it's kind of hard to have somebody. Clayton, yeah, Clayton Jr. Yeah, Clayton Chapman, whatever it is. But yeah, I feel like it's hard to watch. I agree with what LeBron was saying on the McAfee show. It's kind of hard to watch college basketball because the shot clock is long.
Yep.
And it's just to have someone catch your eye, they'd probably be in the NBA by now. You know, it's like, it's really hard to find those people. But anyway, that guy, he caught my eye, and I was like, that dude can hoop, and
he's a shooter.
He could carry his team for sure. So
he started at Iona and transferred. I think it was his second year at Florida.
Okay, see, I feel like that's a work your way up story.
Yeah, there was one guy. It may have been him. Oh yeah, I think it was him. He declared for the I almost said the NFL, the NBA draft last year, and withdrew to come back for his senior season. And I think this is actually a good thing about NIL is before you'd have to jump to the league to make your league minimum, make the roster, you know, take care of your mom and your family and all that. Right. Now with NIL money, you're like, I could make the same money here, play another year in college where I get to play minutes, get to showcase another year. And it's a good thing. And it's kind of the same thing. And it's probably too early to talk about the NFL draft, but you know, it's good that quarterbacks get reps. It's good that college players are getting reps.
Yeah. That's what's going to make you better in the league for sure. Like, I didn't realize I took a deep dive on who's going to be the number 1 pick, the Miami kid.
Cam Ward.
Did you see his stats when he was at Incarnate Word?
It was like ungodly.
Yeah, ungodly. Threw for like 7,000 yards in 2 seasons. But, I mean, he played 5 full years. Like, he started 2 full years at Incarnate Word, went to Washington State, I believe, for 2 years, and then Miami for 1 year. It's like the dude played 50 college games. It was like the Dylan Gabriel kid.
Yeah.
You know, 40, 50 games. And by that point, you know, Cam Ward, in his interview, he was like, He's like, yeah, I played in NFL systems the last 5 years. It's just going to be plug and play wherever I go. And that's why you see like a guy like Jaden Daniels have such a great rookie season.
Because he's ready to go. There's no raw. Like Caleb Williams was a little raw.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels was not. And Jaden Daniels comes in, balls out. Also a little bit better system. Much better offensive system.
For sure.
More talent around him. But yeah, these new guys, it's kind of like going back to the Parcells quarterback rules. You want him to have 30 starts in college, 3 years starter, win 25 games, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, can the guy play? It used to, for a minute there, the guys would jump after as soon as they could.
Right.
And now we're seeing this is like the good of NIL where, you had an extra year. You got, another 4,000 yards passing, got those reps in. Hey, we're ready to go.
I think it'll figure itself out. And it's just like anything. It kind of, the cream's going to rise to the top for sure. But it's interesting to see that. Think about 10 to 15 years ago when we were all talking about, do y'all think, college players should ever get paid? You never thought it would look like this. Like this would have not been the system that you would have painted.
No.
It's kind of random. It's like, it's endorsement deals, but it's paid by the school, but it's kind of not, yada, yada, yada. So, and then you have an agent, but you don't have an agent. So I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's a strange world we live in.
But it's America, and we're entrepreneurs, and we're business people, and we're gonna make football great again.
And you know who's doing that?
Who is that?
Jameis Winston, and unfortunately Russell Wilson. I was so looking forward to Jameis Winston starting 17 games for the Giants, throwing for 8,000 yards, 46 touchdowns, 39 interceptions, and them going 3-14. I was signed up, ready to go. Red zone, Sunday ticket. I love the Jameis experience. We were talking about it today at lunch, and it was if you're up 40 or down 40, and Jameis is your quarterback, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Both teams are still in it.
And you're kind of happy either way. You're like, it's all, it's all good. So
what was the game earlier this year with the Browns and the Steelers where it was over and Jameis throws like a pick six and you're like, oh my goodness. But then he like runs it in and you say, oh, what? Yeah. Yeah. They blew a lead. They blew a 12-point fourth quarter lead because of his interceptions. Yeah. Cause that game was over. That was the snow game. Yeah. That's what it was. It was the snow game, and then he was great, but then he threw back-to-back interceptions in the fourth, and then but still came back and won it. Like, it was incredible. It was the full Jameis experience in the snow.
Yeah.
I wanted that for 17 games, and Russell Wilson robs us of it. Once again, that guy.
Yeah, that was a weird pickup for me because I had reached the point where I was thinking they're going to draft Shedeur. And I'm thinking Jameis is going to be like an 8-game, 9-game thing, kind of like Penix Jr. Like, put Jameis in there for the first 4 if he's not ready yet, and then other than that, let Shedeur take the lead. Jameis can be like a lighthearted guy to kind of be there and support him, which they still could potentially do that with all 3 of these guys, but that'd be kind of weird. But they paid Russ pretty good money. It was $20 million.
Yeah, it's a nice 1-season deal. Yeah, nothing wrong with that for Russ.
I guess that's solid.
I'm a little sad they didn't pay Jameis as much, but Russ was okay last year. Wasn't great. Yeah. He was okay, but I much prefer Jameis' experience. It's way more fun. Yeah. And if you're a Giants fan, like, you're gonna win 4 games this year, 5 games this year. What are you doing?
Yeah, and that could just be. They could just be trying to sell some tickets. I don't know.
I would go see Jameis play.
Yeah, I'd love to see Jameis. I mean, they you still got DeVito too. So they're saying it's going to be an open competition between those 3. So
I would love. Malik Neighbors was about to catch like 3,000 yards from Jameis as Jameis was chucking it to him left and right. It'd have been just the greatest. But they're gonna start Russ Wilson.
Wait, so where do we?
Let's go.
Where do you think? Let's talk about the big three guys in the draft, and we'll do something deep dive in it later. But
Yeah,
Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Shadur. Obviously, you got a bunch of other guys, but
sure.
that's kind of like the flashy names. Where are they going? Who's going where?
Man.
Is Cam Ward going one? You think to Tennessee, and then they're letting Mayonnaise guy go?
Mayonnaise guy. Yeah, I think what Tennessee has talked about being open for business, meaning they're willing to trade
Straight
if
up.
they get a ridiculous offer. So I don't know if they really I don't think they view Cam Ward as a transcendent player. Like
Yeah.
everyone thought Caleb Williams was the 1-1
Right.
last year.
Oh, for sure.
And we all knew the Bears weren't going to trade their picks. It just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So, okay, they are committed, no trade. We know who's going 1-1. Other years when it's someone obvious who's, the number one pick, like Andrew Luck that one year is like, okay, or Cam Newton the other year, where it's really obvious, like, okay, this quarterback's going number one.
Right.
But the fact that they say they're open for business, that tells me they're not fully
committed.
They don't believe in him as much as other people, even though this year he is probably the best quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he goes number one to Tennessee unless someone just
trades up,
throws a huge offer to him. And then I think Shador will go number 2 to Cleveland.
Oh, you hate to see it.
And that's why I think the Giants signed Wilson and Winston just to see if to get them through this next year, because I think they kind of know, okay, Shador is not going to us.
Yeah.
I think, Stefanski in Cleveland, it's a run first scheme. There's a lot of play action.
Yeah.
I think it actually worked pretty well for Shador to develop in that system. Deshaun Watson can't thrive in there, but he can't throw the ball anymore.
Yeah,
Joe
maybe
Flacco
he'll be
did
fine.
great in it.
It just, Browns and QBs scares anyone. So
right. So that Travis Hunter, probably 3 to the Giants, unless they go Abdul Carter, who's kind of the other one. You know, the other big name, probably the best player in the draft.
If you're smart, you probably take him 1 or 2. He's got the most upside to be like obviously Michael Parsons was in that system.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of similar format. But that'd be interesting. What are the odds that Shadur drops all the way to the Cowboys? They're 12.
Man, I think 0.
Yeah.
Because you got who needs
a quarterback? It could be a Johnny Manziel type thing where they think, hey, the Browns are going to take him early, and then they don't.
Late. You got the Raiders who need a long-term quarterback solution. They got Geno, but that's, I don't think, a long-term. It might be a year or 2. You got the Jets who need a quarterback. You got the Saints who need a quarterback. So you got 4 ahead of them that, could really use a quarterback.
True.
Yeah, Browns, Giants.
The big brown giant.
The big brown giant. I think that's all I got, other than they moved my Sunday games. Weird short story. We're playing this team, and we destroy them 7-0. And I realized halfway through that I've played this team for the last 10 years, this opponent.
Yeah.
I stopped playing men's league when my son was born in 2020.
Yeah.
And, it's 2025. So 5 years later, I'm like, holy crap, it's that same Chinese dragon team. That's what they're called.
Yeah.
Okay, that's their team name, so I don't want to hear anything. But yeah, we played them back in 2014 for the championship, and we beat them 1-0. One of their guys threatened to cut our guy's head off. That was exciting. I got a hard cleat to the back of the leg, and the referee laughed. I knew the referee, and he was like, yeah, that's funny. I was like, that hurt really bad.
Yeah.
The next time we played them, it was a 3-3 tie, which is one of my best games ever. We were down 3-0 in the 75th minute, and I'm like the only one not quitting. And I win a penalty, score a goal, drag the team back in the game. We end up tying, but we figured our team out after that. And then ever since then, the closest game we've played against them was 7-0. We've cooked them ever since.
Oof.
I know it's been crazy. Like we beat them 7-0, 10-1, 10-2. Just destroyed them every time. But it's just a small world of like, I played 2 games in this men's league, and there was an old friend I had from Forney. I played against him, and then I played this team. I'm like, is it the same guys playing pickup in North Texas? Playing men's league in North Texas? Like, is this my fate to be?
It's got to be
with these guys for the rest of my soccer playing life. Like, are we gonna play over 40 and over 50 together?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because by the time you get to that point, it's the people who really love the game. They're going to stick with it,
Yeah. And at this point, you're not moving unless you get transferred for work. So
not everyone's a real racehorse like you. They can't last that long.
I don't know. My
can't make it to 40.
It was a little questionable. My knee's hurting today. I was like, I don't know. I'm making 40.
Let me tell you about 40.
Is this episode 40? 50?
I think it's episode 50 something.
50 something.
We'll call it episode 40 for LeBron.